instinctively, under those conditions, what came to mind and what came out of their mouth was perfect. They couldn't have said anything more powerful, more emotional, more true. They burst into the room, eliminated the terrorists, and said, "Let's go home." Is there anything more powerful than that? Would you like to start with questions?
Sure.
Hamish? Comfortable? Okay.
You're talking about intimacy?
If you want to.
Sure. That's the name of the book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, intimacy. Where are you going with intimacy? I'm starting you off.
You just want to get right to the point. Haknish Kanchainik, get right to the point. Can we speak in Yiddish?
This'll.
Okay. Haknish Kanchainik is all the Yiddish I'm going to use.
Yeah, my mother used that a lot. Yeah.
So, what is intimacy? It's a big subject, but to get to the point, intimacy means when two people become one so that they never feel alone in the world. I've been doing marriage counseling for a long time. And I got used to the idea that there are some couples who don't like each other. And when people say, "We're working on our relationship," oh, you mean you don't like him? Talk straight. They don't like each other. And you got to do something to bring them together and make a ceasefire and a temporary peace and maybe hopefully a long-term peace. But okay, I got used to that. People have their own opinions, people have their own personalities, and they don't always match. But recently, like the last 4 or 5 years, there's something else going on that's more disconcerting, more worrisome. Happily married couples, successful marriages, no complaints, and yet when you talk to them individually, they will say, "I feel alone in the world." It's a terrible feeling. But if you're married, how is this even possible? What do you mean you're alone? You have this nudnik. You're not alone. Try doing what you want to do and you see what happens. There is another person in your life. Why are you alone? And the only answer I could come up with is, they live in the same house and they share many interests and many pleasures, but they haven't become one with each other. And if you haven't become one, you're still alone. There's still just you. Like the comedian says, what does it mean, a single guy? I'm a single guy. What does that mean? You don't have a twin? What does it mean to be single?
No partner. You don't have a partner?
But the problem is, there are people who have a partner and they're still single in their feeling. They still feel alone in the world. And it turns out that feeling alone is a danger, a health hazard. Because when you feel alone, your entire enthusiasm for life gets weaker. Your immune system gets weaker. And then you're vulnerable. That's why married people, statistically, live longer. Because they're not alone. When you are alone, you're weak. Now that's a strange thing, by the way. Why is it that if you're alone, you're miserable? Why? You know, people say, if you're lonely, join a club, go to a party, be sociable. The problem, of course, is what do you do at the end of the party? You realize how alone you really are. So we have to make a little distinction. There's a difference between lonely and alone. Lonely, if you're feeling lonely, go to a party. Go have some fun. But parties don't help if you're feeling alone in the world, because what happens after the party? So loneliness is not the problem. Aloneness, much worse. Two lonely people get together, they enjoy. Misery loves company. I'm lonely, you're lonely. Okay, let's party. But alone is alone. You don't share aloneness. So what's the solution? If marriage is not solving that problem, something is missing, something very fundamental is missing in the marriage. When you do make a true bond and you really become one, then even if one of the spouses passes away, the surviving spouse will be lonely, but will not feel alone. Because you have a spouse, they're just far away. So you are lonely because you miss the person who you are married to, and therefore not alone. But it's very nice to have someone you miss, because they're far away, but you're not alone. So a woman said to me, I think I need help. There's something wrong. My husband passed away, and I think he's still here. And they're telling me that I'm crazy. She's not. That's exactly how you're supposed to feel. He's still here means he's still my husband. He's not here. He's away. He's visiting in heaven. But he exists. You still have a husband. He still thinks about you. He still worries about you. You're still making him miserable. So you're definitely married. What is this ingredient that is missing? For the last 80 years, maybe 100 years, since Tevye and his daughters, people decided that the right way to get married is to get married out of love. You fall in love with somebody, you marry them. You don't fall in love with anybody, you don't marry anybody. So marriage became a love affair. And for the last 100 years, every marriage in the free world, in the Western world for certain, people got married out of love. Are marriages better now? They're not. What went wrong? So a number of things that are really crucial to the human condition, like you say, fundamental practical things. The first thing is this: love is worthless. America worships love. It's the idol. If anything is wrong in life, it's because there's not enough love. Your children are unhappy and they're rebelling because you don't love them enough. But I do love them. Not enough. Because if you love them enough, everything would be good. If there's a problem in marriage, not enough love. If there's a social problem, racial problems, we got to love each other. It's not true, it's not working, and it's not supposed to work. love does not fix problems. In fact, love can be a problem. So listen to this. The thing that is ruining marriages in America is love. More marriages are destroyed by love than by money. That's serious. A man says to a woman, I love you for your money. I want to marry you for your money. Is that terrible? It is terrible. He's honest, and there's nothing wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with money. In fact, it's a match made in heaven. He loves money, and she has money. The best shidduch in the world. Why is it so terrible? So most people say, because what's going to happen if the money goes away? It's a good question. So if you get married for love, is that any better? What happens when the love goes away? Same thing, the marriage is over. So love is just as much a condition as money. So if you have to get married either for love or for money, choose the money. Because money is at least useful. What do you get from love? Here's the real problem. It's not that it might go away. Anything might go away. The problem is really this. If I say I love you for your money, I'm not really being honest. Because I don't love you for your money. I love the money. I'm not marrying you for the money. I'm marrying the money. That's why if the money goes away, there's no marriage. I never married you. I was married to the money. Worse than that, listen to the insult. I want to marry you for your money. Don't you hear what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, can I just have the money? No. I have to marry you to get the money. Okay, I'll marry you. But if I could have your money without you, that would be so much better. Do you hear the insult? In a perfect world, I would just get your money. But in this world, nothing's perfect, so I have to marry you. It's terrible. But what happens since this revolution that Tevye's daughters brought about, we marry people for the virtues, for the talents, for the gifts, for the benefits. So we end up loving many things about somebody, and if I love many things about somebody, I'll marry that person for those many things. So if I say, I want to marry you for your money. Oh, no, not just for the money. What do you think I am? For the love. No, not just for the love. For your good looks. Not just for your good looks. For your talents. For your wisdom. For your mother. I love your family. I love everything about you. The result is, I am married to the money, to the looks, to the love, to the family, to the yichus. I'm just not married to you. I'm married to many things about you. I'm married to the things you have. I'm not married to you. And that's why, if those things disappear, I can't even believe that you're living in my house. Who needs you? You shouldn't even need a divorce. If those things go away, there's nothing left. Our grandparents were the exact opposite. They married each other. That's all they wanted, is each other. All the things about each other, they couldn't stand. So they complained and they criticized and they kvetched about it. But get divorced? You mean not have each other? That's crazy. So we are substituting things for the person. Our grandparents wanted the person, the things. If we'll have, we'll have. If not, not. So here's the key. Rather than looking for love, which we don't need, it's a fake news. We don't need love. You don't need love from your husband. You don't need love from your wife. Because if you really need to be loved, you're not ready to get married. Go home to your mother. And if she doesn't love you, you're really in trouble. So what do you need from a husband or from a wife? So let me tell you this little story. Back in Russia, under communism, the Rebbe in Lubavitch declared war against the communists. He didn't want to escape. He wanted to destroy them. Because atheism, ungodliness is not tolerable. You have to remove it from the world. So he declared war. And he drafted all his chassidim into the army of fighting against communism. So if they closed down a shul, we opened another one. They closed up a mikveh, they dug another one. They closed up a cheder, they went underground. It was a fight. In the long run, he beat them. Communism is gone, and Judaism is flourishing in the Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union. It's a debate as to where there is more Judaism happening, in the United States or in Russia. They're returning every synagogue they ever took away. They're returning every shul. They're returning every... They're not only allowing, they're supporting. At the Lag BaOmer parade in the Red Square in front of the Kremlin, the marching band that leads the Lag BaOmer parade is the Red Army, orchestra, band. So in the process of this war, almost every Lubavitch family lost a father, a husband, a son, because when they were caught, they were sent to Siberia, firing squads, all sorts of... There was a young couple. The husband was wanted for his Jewish activities, so they tried to hide in a village where no Jews lived. They thought they would disappear over there, they won't look for him. But they found him and they sent him to Siberia. This left his wife with an 8-year-old child, boy, alone in this non-Jewish village. She had no money. She couldn't feed the boy. So she had to go into the city where she had some family, some relatives, to get money or food for the child. But the child couldn't travel. Because in Russia, you cannot move without papers. You have to have papers. And the boy had no papers because when he was born, they bribed the nurses to not register the birth. Because every child registered born at the age of 6 is expected to show up in the communist school. So to avoid having to send their kids to communist schools, they bribed the hospital not to register the birth. So officially, this boy did not exist. He certainly couldn't travel. So the mother had to leave him with a neighbor, an elderly couple, not Jewish, and was hoping that it would only be a few days. She'd take the train into town, come back right away. She told the boy what he should eat or should not eat, because they were kosher, in this neighbor's house, and she left. She planned to be back in 4 days. No way. Her own papers were not so perfect. They stopped her, they interrogated her. The trains didn't run on time. Nothing worked. So a week goes by and she hasn't come back. The man, the neighbor, would be drunk every day. And he enjoyed fighting with the boy, trying to force him to eat something not kosher. And the boy would fight and scream and cry and bite and kick and spit. A week of this, and the mother, the wife, couldn't take the noise and the fighting and the screaming, so she took the boy and put him in an orphanage. In the orphanage, nobody forced him to do what he didn't want to do, but they were constantly criticizing him, mocking him, questioning him. 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks, mother's not back. One day, the orphanage takes the boys on a hike. It was a hot summer day. They were thirsty. They went into a farm, and they asked the farmer if he had a drink for the boys. The farmer goes down into his cellar, and he comes up with a bottle of cold milk. He gives each boy a glass, fills it with milk, and the boy, the 8-year-old child, is about to drink the milk, and he hears the farmer saying to the leader, "It's very good that you stopped here, because there's nothing healthier for growing boys than the horse's milk." So the boy hears this. Horse's milk is not kosher. So now he has a dilemma. What should he do? On the one hand, he's thirsty. This is a cold drink. On the other hand, it's not kosher. But then if he doesn't drink it, it'll start a whole new conversation with ridicule, with questioning. So he should drink it to avoid that. But on the other hand, it's not kosher. After a few minutes, he decided not to drink. And to avoid having a whole scene, he pretended that the glass slipped out of his hand and it spilled. Now they're returning to the orphanage, and his mother had come back. She goes to the neighbor, "Where's my son?" They said, "No, we put him in an orphanage," which was really frightening because children were disappearing, kidnapped. It was terrible. So she runs to the orphanage, and she says, "I'm here to pick up my son." And they said, "He's not here now." And she thought, this is it. I'm never going to see my child again. He's gone. And there's nobody to talk to because the child doesn't even exist officially. Not that the police would help anyway, but so she's pacing in front of the orphanage, doesn't know what to do next. And the boys are coming back. And her son sees her from the distance. He starts to run towards her, and he shouts in Russian or in Yiddish, I'm not sure. He says, "Mama, I'm still yours." I didn't drink it. Which means that what brought the final decision not to drink the milk is not because he was a little tzaddik, not because he was orthodox, not because he was frum. He didn't drink the milk because he wanted to be able to say to his mother, I am yours. You wouldn't drink it, I didn't drink it. I'm yours. That word, I am yours, you are mine, it is so much more powerful than love. Love is flimsy. It's fickle. That's what marriage is supposed to be. What does marriage produce? A home. Another very powerful word, much more valuable than love. Home. If you remember the whole saga in Entebbe, the Israeli soldiers came, miraculously liberated 100 Jewish hostages. It was the world went crazy over it. But in the heat of the moment, in the raw, natural instinct, when those soldiers came in to liberate the hostages, what did they say? What did the soldiers say to the hostages?
Come protect you.
Instinctively, under those conditions, what came to mind and what came out of their mouth was perfect. They couldn't have said anything more powerful, more emotional, more true. They burst into the room, eliminated the terrorists, and said, "Let's go home." Is there anything more powerful than that? If they had said, "Oh, we came to save you because we love you." You don't even know me. What is that? Love would not have been the right thing at all. They came up with exactly the right thing. You got to go home. What is home? When there is this intimate bond between husband and wife, which means I just want you, not something about you. When we have that bond, you create a home. When you come into your home, ideally, you feel that you are where you belong. It's a very good feeling. Because most of the time, we're not sure that we are where we belong. If you're shopping at Walmart, you're thinking maybe I should be at Target. If you're shopping at Target, maybe I should go to... I'm here, but I don't belong here. Even when you go to work. It's your desk, it's your job, they pay you for it, but is this where you belong? Well, if you can get fired at any time, then obviously no. If you can get a promotion or a better job someplace else, of course, you'll switch. This is not where you belong. This is what's working right now. That feeling, I am where I belong, is an amazing feeling. And it's not common. It doesn't happen often enough. Now, when you have that feeling, I am where I belong because I am home, then what you do there is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So you are where you belong, doing what you're supposed to be doing. There's never any regret. Nobody regrets that they didn't spend enough time at work. Nobody regrets not getting a better job. In the end, the only thing you regret is not spending more time at home. So you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And with whom? With the person that you are meant to be with. So it's a triple blessing, a three-layered blessing. I am where I belong. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing with the person I'm meant to be with. That's magnificent.